All right, welcome to State of the Game for the 8th of September, 1.4.
Let's talk about the game.
Exactly. All right, before we get into the 1.4 stuff, the issue that we're aware of.
Yeah, there's one thing we wanted to mention, because there's been a lot of discussion about it on the forums. High end, below level 30, yeah, not cool.
Coming from underground folks, we know about that one, for sure.
Definitely.
That's on the table. But obviously, there's a lot on the table right now because of 1.4.
Yes.
And as you know, we have Elite Task Force people here in the office right now. They're currently, they're basically directly below us right now.
I think if we're actually
down.
making a lot of noise,
yeah, exactly. So actually, first day went really, really good. But we thought it would be important to show you guys, talk to you guys a bit about some of the top level things that we're going to address with 1.4.
Yes.
While I remember, because otherwise I'll forget, we will have a more in-depth stream on the topic next week.
Yes.
Next Tuesday. I think we are locking in 7 p.m. our time.
7 p.m.
So that would be 1 p.m. East Coast US. Oh, wait. British friends, 6 p.m. for you.
Yes.
I always forget. Although it's 1 hour, so math. And then that would make it 10 a.m. for West Coast US, 5 a.m. New Zealand, sorry.
Tuesday, September 13th, 7 p.m. CEST. All the conversion time that Hamish just did.
I might be... We'll publish it accurately. I probably got something wrong. But anyway, next Tuesday, we'll have a more in-depth special report about 1.4. But top-level intentions. That'd be cool. Do you want to start with this?
I think Quentin will
all right.
Yay.
Go through it.
So 1.4, and we are just going to talk about, at least here, the balancing topics that come with 1.4. There is also a lot of bug fixing, some quality of life features, but just the balancing focus for 1.4. First of all, and that's like our main work right now, is the time to kill. We all know that after level 30, especially 33, 34, 35, the NPCs goes insane in terms of health pool they have, how much damage you need to actually kill them, and how much damage they deal to you. That's completely off, and we kind of completely lost the fine balance between RPG and shooter that we had during the whole leveling game. That needs to come back. So our first priority, rescale the NPCs to follow up the same path as it was during the leveling experience. So basically reducing their health and damage by quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's our first priority. Of course, what does that mean? If we just do that, well, the game is suddenly becoming 3, 5, 10 times easier. It's because there is, of course, the other side of the table, the player and player power.
Exactly.
One of the biggest issue we have right now, and why the balance is off, is that there is such a big gap between an average non-optimized gear and a well-optimized with the proper skills, proper gear sets built at the same gear score. There is no way in the current state that we can balance the game for those two groups of players.
Exactly.
So we need to shrink that gap and to reduce the gap between how more powerful can I be than just by optimizing my gear, than just having like random gear at the same gear score. Reducing the NPC, reducing that gap between well-optimized and random gear, and we will go back to a more fun experience. Like I shoot at stuff, they die, I don't get one shot, and that will that's our main focus.
Yeah, a lot of that scaling kind of comes back to the good scaling that we had pre-level 30. So if anyone, and I know Yannick and I have done this recently, played through 1 to 30 again, that time to kill feels great. You know, it's you have to be tactical again. You use your skills in ways that aren't you just running over triage for and having infinite heals and all these sorts of things. But I'm really excited for the post level 30 stuff. And, there's a lot there that's going to be a huge improvement.
Yes. So there will be changes rebalancing on skills. There will be changes rebalancing on gear, etc. But overall, you guys, all of you, will feel way more powerful against those NPCs.
Yeah, exactly. Someone I think it's killing
to look at at the overall experience again, and for that, as we said, it's one part of the issue is the NPC, but the other part of the issue, I would say, is, as you said, the gap between very min-max, very fully optimized gear and non-optimized gear. So by reducing that as well, then the end result, or what we're aiming for, is an end result where time to kill is going to be shorter. As a player, you will feel more powerful. You still can be better by optimizing your character, just with a lower gap than what you would have now.
Exactly.
But overall, it's going to be a better experience, much more fun experience for everyone.
Exactly. And you'll have choices to make as well.
Anymore.
Like right now, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, but you have a situation where you are probably going to get skill power capped, you're going to get toughness capped, and all these things, and there is one way to go, almost. I mean, there is some variation, but like everyone can do it, and then you have infinite heals, you have a max smart cover, and all these sorts of things, and that's not the way we want it to go.
And if for some reason, like you don't spend your life on Reddit or watching YouTube videos and everything, you don't know about those like gold rolls and best stats in the game, and then the game is way too hard for you, especially, for example, if you are playing solo. Which is part of the second point.
Good segue. Nice.
Difficulty scaling. So right now in the game, and I think you guys are all aware of it as well, there is, for example, a huge gap between hard and challenge content. And then even on top of that, you have heroic. That creates a lot of issues, especially for solo players, because you only get the best reward from the most hard content in the game, and the hardest content in the game is only accessible for group players and groups of well-optimized and coordinated teams. Then if you are casual solo, you kind of hit a wall at some point, which is around the hard difficulty right now in Underground, for example. You cannot get better gear, you cannot upgrade, you cannot like move forward, and you kind of, how am I supposed to get better? So the second point will be difficulty scaling. We will go way more in depth. That's a big overall revamp of the difficulty, so we'll not go too much into details, but basically what you need to know, much more granularity in terms of how can I select my difficulty in the game, and ensure that no matter what I do, no matter the group size that I have, every activity will always provide me with appropriate reward.
I think the idea here was really like, so you would not, as you said, you would not hit this wall where you're, especially as a solo player, like, ending up doing hard mode as a solo player, and then you're like, okay, the next step would be doing challenge mode, but I'm completely stuck in challenge mode, so, I can't do challenge mode except if I actually have to find a group or whatever, so,
So solo players, you will have stuff to do. You will find upgrade. It might take a little bit longer than with a group, for example, but we want to open the opportunity to everyone to play as you want and get upgrade.
Exactly. That's going to be a big focus. It's really important. I mean, I love playing solo as well, but you have that frustration where, I mean, there's no way as a solo player that you can do, well, not no way, but unless you're, the top 0.000 point, like tiny bracket, you can't do it. Like it's not possible. I remember Yannick and I had a very similar experience. Like you'd go into Underground, hard mode, you can solo. Challenge mode, I was like, holy wow. Maybe now I probably have enough gear to do it a little bit. Heroic, definitely not. And it's not a fun experience. So that's and again, Tuesday night we'll have more details on that. Because it is a big enough change that it's going to have to require a long explanation with visual aids and that sort of thing. But we'll get that for you on Tuesday.
The last main topic for 1.4 is loot. Basically, we are still going on the generosity path, more and better loot, less waiting in activities. So if you are doing HVTs, you will not only get Lone Stars. So if I like the HVTs, I can play them, and I will have a chance to have everything. If I want to go to the Dark Zone, that will drop everything. There will still be some waiting here and there to if I really want to optimize my farm for specific, especially gear set pieces. But overall, I can play everything. I can have everything. So that's a huge revamp in terms of loot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, there's so someone was asking what's happening.
Well, that's all we said. We're not committing to a date because the release window will also depend on the quality. We want to make sure that the quality is good. It's going to depend on the PTS, everything. We're going to put all of that on the PTS for you guys to test. So depending on the results we will get there, we might need to take some extra days or whatever. We'll see. So that's why so far we are just committing to October.
It's also depending on what's happening downstairs with
Also
the elite task force,
yes.
So we can take their feedbacks into account. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Exactly.
So those are the main pillars for 1.4 balancing: time to kill, difficulty scaling, loot.
Yeah.
A lot of other things will be addressed, of course, just by fixing those issues, but they will not be the focus.
Yeah.
So, for example, you can notice that there is no mention of PvP. So no, for this update, PvP is not the focus. All the changes that we are talking about in 1.4 are going to affect PvP in a good way. But don't expect new PvP feature, don't expect like change of rules in terms of PvP, but for example, reducing the time to kill on NPCs will help the Dark Zone experience a lot.
Yeah.
You will not
exactly.
get one-shotted by purple NPCs when you want to do your fight in PvP. The gear rebalancing that we are going to do, the changes on
some
the gear
bug
set,
fixes as
the
well.
skills, bug fixing.
Yeah, there's a lot of those things that aren't directly focused on PvP, but will have a big impact on PvP.
But doesn't mean though, because I see some people talking about Sentry in PvP and everything, but doesn't mean we are not going to touch the current meta. I mean, there are a lot of changes, as Quentin said, that will have an impact on PvP, since as part of the changes on the gap we said between min-max and non-min-max and everything, we're going to do quite a bit of changes on gear and stats. This will also definitely have an impact on PvP, and that will therefore also be part of the rebalance. So things like Sentry and Shotgun and these kind of things, these are things that will be addressed as part of it, of course.
There will be, we didn't mention it, but of course, with the time to kill and the overall like gear rebalancing, there will be tweaks to weapons, So PvP, you will see effects on PvP, but it will not be, hey guys, that's our PvP, our perfect PvP experience that we build for you. That
exactly, and I think it's important to state the benefit of that. Like in an alternate universe where we address PvP right now, in the context of the meta right now, without taking into the meta shift that will like definitely happen based on the changes that we are making, it would be a big mistake. Yeah. Like we need to make sure that we first look at how the meta shifts after all these changes happen, and then we'll have more context for what we should do going forward, rather than having to do it multiple times. Like do it once, do it right, and obviously keep doing it, but it would be a mistake to do it now.
Yes. So PvP, not the focus. Dark Zone in general, not the focus. Once again, you will see impacts, but it's not like the entire focus. And the last one is economy and crafting in general. Same. You will see more highest gear score blueprints, etc. But it's not the overall whole balance pass that will come with 1.4. That will come later.
One sec. I see people saying it's last week. We have a little bit more on that this week.
Yeah, so we have some dates for you guys with the
PTS. Success!
Okay, so when is the PTS happening? So as a reminder, for those of you who don't know, PTS stands for Public Test Server. So what we announced last week was that we were going to open a public test server for the division to allow you guys to test the update before we actually release it officially. So the PTS is going to be, that's the bummer, it's only going to be available on PC for PC players, okay? We cannot, unfortunately, we cannot have it available on consoles yet because first, PC allows for more flexibility in terms of patching and updates. So doing it on PC means we can like really patch very regularly based on your feedback, which is something that would be harder on console. But that doesn't mean we're completely ignoring console. We're also looking at ways to involve console players in the PTS. So that's something we're definitely looking at. But right now, the first version of it is going to be PC only for what we're going to do. So 1.4. So yeah, dates I said. On Thursday next week, we are going to have a technical test of the PTS.
So that's the 15th, right?
That's Thursday, September 15th.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a technical test. What that means is that we want to open the PTS to a limited amount of players to test the infrastructure and make sure the PTS works, make sure the process of downloading the client of the PTS, logging into it, getting your characters and all this kind of stuff. We want to make sure that this process actually works.
Yeah.
So for that, we're only going to open it to a limited amount of players. Who will be these players? What we're going to do is we got a lot of applications for the Elite Task Force. This was really crazy, and this was amazing. So as a token of thanks for you guys, all of you guys who applied to the Elite Task Force, the players that will get access to the PTS on Thursday 15th are all the PC players that applied to the Elite Task Force last week.
Yes. Thank you for engaging with such a thing.
That's a thank you to you guys.
Awesome. So yes, again, if you applied and you are on PC,
yeah,
yes, applied to the Elite Task Force and on PC, you will be first in to the PTS.
And you didn't win. No, but that's the thing. It's like you didn't have to win. We are talking about all the people
Everyone who applied.
Everybody who submitted an application through the form that we put there and that plays on PC will be invited, no matter if you were selected to the Elite Task Force or not. Okay?
Mr. Surreal says all 33 of them. There were a lot more than 33. I don't know if you want to say, but there's a lot. There's a lot of people that will be getting
a few more
invites.
digits in that number.
Yes.
So yeah, that will be all of you guys. So that's going to be, as I say, Thursday 15th. But for all the other players that did not apply, that will not be selected, first know that if it happens that we actually need more testers, we will open a new registration form in case we need some. That will be depending on the testing, if we have enough players or not. So keep an eye out for that. And know that if everything goes fine on September 19th, so that's the Monday after that, so that's not Monday coming, that's the Monday after that, so in about 10 days, the PTS will open publicly to all PC players.
Yes.
So then it will be available to all PC players who own the division. You have to still own the division. It's not a free trial version for people who don't own the game.
Yeah.
But if you own the division, you will be able to download the PTS version because it's going to be another client, right?
Yep.
It's going to be another client, so you will have to download the new version. It's going to be available in your games.
Yes.
And then you can log into this version. Your character data from the live version will be transferred to the PTS, so you won't have to restart a new character. You will have your character. We will pretty much kind of refresh your character data every time we update the PTS, basically.
Sure.
And so, yeah, you will have your character data. Know that, of course, your progress on the PTS does not transfer to the live server.
Of course.
So you can play on the PTS, test things, but all the things, all the loot, all the stuff you're going to get while testing on the PTS will not transfer to the live game. So, yeah. What else did I have here? So September 19th opening for everyone. Characters transferred. No NDA. There will be no NDA on the PTS. So you guys will be free to talk about it, stream it, make screenshots, whatever.
So yeah, for the people who can't get in, especially a lot of console people, we understand that's frustrating.
Yeah.
You'll be able to watch it. I mean, I imagine that a lot of people will be streaming it on Twitch, all that sort of thing. We will. So if you want to see us stream that thing, we'll be right here. Yes. So console people, you will still be able to see what's going on.
Yeah, and again, we are still looking at ways to actually make this available to console players as well. It's just that right now we have a solution for PC. We are going to use that one, and we're looking at ways to expand it to consoles. But yeah, it's more complicated than it sounds. Need to download a new client. I talked about that, and the feedback will be on the PTS forums. So on the forums, on the official The Division forums, we will open a new section for PTS, and this is where we will be asking for feedback. So the forums will be open to all players who actually have access to the PTS, but they will be visible and public to everyone. So anybody can go there and read the discussion, but you will only be able to participate in the discussion if you actually tried the PTS version.
Exactly. I see a few people in there asking about Steam.
Yeah, so we took the applications of the people who applied, and then we crossed that with data analytics to find out what kind of profile do they fit in the game. So all the people who applied, we actually looked at what you're doing in the game as well, because we also wanted to make sure that we select people that are representative of different type of gameplay experience. So we kind of crossed the two of them, and we looked at wants the application and your in-game kind of gameplay style. And we selected people that represent all different type of styles. So we have the hardcore people, the hardcore PvE, the hardcore PvP, more casual profiles. We have solo profiles, group profiles. We have some crazy guy who has completed all content in the game in solo, even the heroic stuff. The only one he can't is...
You can't do Dragon's Nest Heroic.
Dragon's Nest Heroic.
Because he can't hit both switches.
So yeah, somebody was asking in chat, what's the percentage of YouTubers and non-YouTubers? We have 5 YouTubers/streamers and 8 players that have been selected from the applications. I mean, the YouTubers also applied, obviously, but 8 more unknown players.
Yeah, and again, there were also